Hi people, my name is Raven back here again as always and as usual. The topic today, as you can tell from the header, is going to be mermaids and sirens and related. But before I do that, check out where I am, baby. Lake Broken Ferry. You tell me if that's not beautiful. Now, let me turn the camera because I'm out on my kayak. Yeah, I hope everybody can see me okay. Unfortunately, I can't bring my tripod here, of course. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah, everything looks good. Okay, good to go. Now, let's get to it. Mermaids and sirens and shit. Yeah. Long story short, this video is not going to be a long video. Mermaids and sirens, based on my knowledge and experience, are derived from... by the way, I've never covered this topic before, specifically in an exclusive or separate video, hence me doing so now. Mermaids and sirens... These are simply, generally speaking, miscellaneous water spirits. Okay, mermaids are neutral. They can be both benevolent or malevolent. So they can either harm people or the opposite, help people. And sirens, generally speaking, it's purely malevolence. Okay, we've all heard the stories about, you know, the whole old mythical tales of medieval times or before that, ancient times, BC and whatnot, and Anno Domini AD. Of sailors that were lured by sirens. They heard someone singing a beautiful song, and they saw a beautiful woman on a rock in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, like the Atlantic Ocean, for example. Yeah, before you know it, their ship crashes, and they're simply hypnotized. They're literally mesmerized to the point where they'll do whatever that siren tells them. Yeah, it's the same thing as casting a spell, honestly. Honestly, these water spirits are known throughout the world, but they're just called by different names. In the Caribbean, for example, there is a thingy, the tale of a water nymph, essentially. I don't know what the name is exactly. In Suriname, for example, they call it Watramama. Literally just means water mama. It's basically a malevolent thingy, water spirit that takes the shape of a beautiful woman, and she primarily only seduces men. Never heard of a woman being seduced by a guy. She seduces men and then she simply drags them underwater. The men go willingly. Like I said, they're being mesmerized and they're being put under her spell, and yeah, that's it. The rest is history. What else can I say? And yeah, of course, like I said, all of these throughout time you've heard of this, okay? Doesn't matter whether the stories are slightly different, but they all boil down to the same thing, which is in essence that you've got humanoid marine creatures, either hybrids like mermaid, half man, half fish, or half woman, half fish, or similar, that either help people or do the exact opposite, bring them nothing but disdain. And yeah, all of them are essentially the same. They derive from the same myth. So in any case, now you know, these are simply water spirits. You can find them throughout the world. The same way that you've got nature spirits, which I've discussed in an earlier video. Check the end screen of this video. I'm going to link a bunch of stuff that you might have never seen that is similar to this topic that I'm discussing. And yeah, it's the same thing, honestly. The same way that you've got water spirits, and I discussed that water spirits, for example, waves. You've got water spirits, for example, that have a tendency to, how do I put this? Water spirits that have a tendency to, I'm sorry if it's becoming wavy. The fucking boats are passing by. Yeah, water spirits that have a tendency to, nature spirits that have a tendency to masquerade themselves as animals, but they simply want to do it for the same reasons that animals do. So they camouflage themselves. They want to blend in with the landscape. And they simply see animals and they automatically just sting these animals. They essentially mimic these animals. But any person that has a keen eye will know that, hey, it's not a big deal, you know, as in you can tell that, hey, that's not an animal. If you closely pay attention, you'll see that that's not an animal. Like, for example, a deer with 3 eyes, etc. Deer don't have 3 eyes. Your basic senses, even if you're not even remotely clairvoyantly inclined, is going to tell you that, hey, that's not an animal. That's not something from the material world. It's something that's trying to pose as something from the material world, but it's not. And the same thing applies to water spirits, essentially. Okay, it's their version. For example, the mermaid is simply, it's like similar to a leprechaun or a gnome. So the same way that a leprechaun is a malevolent thingy spirit, terrestrial spirit / nature spirit, the same concept applies. The same way that you've got gnomes, which are benevolent. These are elemental spirits. And it just goes on, okay? And yes, I know that water spirit, the whole basics, okay, of undines, water spirits, generally speaking, are called undines. That's the case in general. Yeah, they're here around me right now. They're just saying enjoy. In any case, yeah, the same way that you've got fire spirits that are called salamanders and aerial spirits that are called nymphs. Yeah, I know all of it by memory, obviously. It's me. And yeah, that's the case with these water spirits. That's why, generally speaking, you'll come across them in remote places of the world. The same way that nature spirits, you'll find them in reclusive places in nature where no one has ever been, like the rainforest and whatnot. You know, they simply want to live in peace, and they're not highly advanced spirits. They're more spirits with the intellectual consciousness of animals, more or less. So that's all. See you guys later. Bye. Again, enjoy. Well, I'm enjoying it, so I should say enjoy to myself.